Today, the car wizard changes his official stance on the Buick LeSabre 3800. Let's find out what changed. Let's get started. This is a 2002 Buick LeSabre that had some serious brake issues. The pedal was going to the floor. We're going to show you what we found and how it was fixed. But I definitely want to talk to you guys today about the LeSabre. I've been pushing it in the past a lot for being a reliable family car, a cheap alternative to a lot of other cars that last many, many hundreds of thousands of miles. But age catches up to everything. Let's take a look around this Buick LeSabre, and we're going to talk about why I changed my mind and why this thing broke. Everybody has a grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, somebody that's had one of these or currently has one of these. They made millions of them. It's a very, very iconic front end because they were everywhere at one point. This one's dirty. It's a high school kid's car, and it is not a museum piece. It wasn't intended to be. There's some rust in front of the rear wheel there. It's a dirty school car. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here is the mighty, iconic Buick 3800. They are bulletproof. They can last 400,000 or 500,000 miles. They are one of the best engines that General Motors ever made. I wish they still made them. Unfortunately, they don't. They moved to the 3.6, which for a number of years was a piece of trash engine, but it seems like they may have fixed that. We'll do another video in the future on that, but these are easy to work on. The parts are cheap. And let me show you some of the common failure points that you definitely want to look at if you're looking to buy one of these. So you can see this elbow here I'm touching with my screwdriver. It's currently metal. It's been replaced. There's a second one underneath the alternator. Those are little coolant elbows. Those came from the factory as black plastic. Very chintzy, very cheap, and it was very common for those to crack or break and just spray coolant everywhere. A company called Dorman actually came out with upgrades that are metal pipes or metal elbows. This one's had it done, you can see. And once you replace the metal ones, that problem's gone. It doesn't do that anymore. Another issue they had is with the EGR pipe underneath the intake manifold. In this area underneath the EGR pipe would actually burn a hole through the plastic and cause some serious running issues. A new intake manifold will solve that. Another common issue is long cranking as they get age on them, and what causes that is the fuel pressure regulator. Right here, all you have to do is remove this little hose here, and if fuel comes out, then you know it's time for a new one. That's what causes the long cranking. Gas is getting into the intake manifold. Getting all three of those done will probably be less than $1,000, maybe even $800 or $700. It depends on what shop you go to, but it's not stupid crazy expensive. There's many other little things we could go on for hours about little knick-knack things that could, want to look at, but those are some of the major failures that happen, which really they don't happen that much, but the core of the engine is pretty much bulletproof. But just like the most famed athletes of our history, even age catches up to them. The same is happening to these cars. These cars are getting to be over 20 years old. Most of them have 150 to 250, possibly 300,000 miles on them by now. This one's no exception. Mrs. Wizard's going to take you guys through the interior and show you how age is caught up with it and show how many miles are on this one.
There you have it, 213,394 miles. Just a few miles on this thing, but everything's looking good there at least. I'm not going to be so certain when we move up, but let's turn the key off. So we move up. Well, it's not a Camel, let me tell you that. There is a hump up there. Oh gosh, my fingers have disappeared behind it. Yeah, this is peeled off, so we don't have a crack. We don't have foam spilling out. We just have this lovely Camel hump in the dash. Oh, and you can actually see there's that foam we always talk about. You never really see it too much, but there you go. Yeah, that's peeled back nicely. And darn it, the problem with foam is that you can't glue it back down to it. It doesn't work. But it does say it is the LeSabre Limited by Buick in the faux wood trim. But looking nice. I like that they have modernized their radio with a cassette player that connects with their adapted ports there, from an aux port to a USB-C. I guess it works. Very simple controls for our HVAC system. As we move down, we can see that they have added a couple of ports there to charge and to, connect that radio. As we move back, we do have an armrest that can raise, so this can seat 6 people. I'm not so sure if you'd want to be in that middle spot, but it'll be a little tight. See a little bit of wear here, see an elbow mark here, got a few crud and crumbles in there in the cup holder. Move here to our center console area, we've got another port there with a lightning cable in it and a small fortune in change. As we move to the passenger seat, you'll see that it is leather and it's actually looking pretty decent. The driver's side does have a little bit more wear to it, with a few little spots that are definitely starting to show a few seams that are broken. But our door card is in nice condition, have more of that faux wood that does, wrap around to that door card, and we can see that there is the nice heated seat button as well. So that does add a nice creature comfort to the car. Like so many cars, the back seat is very minimally used, unless it is truly a family car. And I'm kind of seeing that that's the case here. The back seat is looking good, but as we move up, we have a very interestingly designed, almost looks like what you would see on the mattress with the gem pulling on it. And if you look there, those are T-pins holding up that headliner. So I guess it works, it's holding them up, but it definitely looks like it's sort of a mattress. Back at our steering wheel, and it's looking pretty good. Got some wear down here at the bottom, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. It's not peeling apart, the leather's not separating. It doesn't have to have a steering wheel cover on it, so okay, it's holding up better than the dash with the camel hump on it. So enough of this interior talk. Let's see what's going on underneath of this thing.
We'll go ahead and do our under-car inspection. Junior Mint did do a road test, and he noticed the front end felt a little wallowy, like there's some play in the steering, and I kind of have an idea what it could be from, again, age. So here we are in our radiator area. I do see something, maybe he ran over something in the road or something got on here, but it's nothing currently leaking in this area. Here's our engine oil pan and transmission pan. Again, very happy to see that it's dry. Another area that you can see leaks is these transmission cooler fittings. They will drip transmission fluid out, and you can actually have a leak there, but they're fine right now. Let's go ahead and check these wheels out. The brakes are about 50 to 60% remaining. The rotors look fine. Sway bar links are okay. CV boots are good. But one thing we do notice, if we look through here, the rubber in this control arm on the lower control arm bushing is starting to crack. And if we look at the other side, you can see my screwdriver goes all the way through. The rubber has completely separated. It's ripped in half. That gives a lot of play on the front end of these control arms for the wheels to wallow around and do this. So when you steer, there's a delayed reaction and it feels like it's kind of wallowing on the road. So now we know it needs lower control arms for sure. Our brakes again are about 50 to 60%. The boots are good, the struts are good, sway bar links are good, and luckily nothing loose other than this control arm. Here's our catalytic converter. Everything looks intact, nothing's been cut off. I have a little shield here hiding or protecting our oxygen sensor. This is a catalyst monitor O2 sensor. Here's our rear resonator style muffler. This I don't like to see. Here's our charcoal canister, and if you were to scrape along a log on the road or something, kind of debris, and come around, just rip this thing to pieces. But I don't see a whole lot of it, so luckily that's not been an issue. Here's our exhaust, and then here's our fuel tank. Again, if we had to remove the fuel tank, you have to pull the whole exhaust out and let it hang, or completely remove it, just to get this thing out. This has had shocks put on because one of the other common issues on the LeSabres is the air ride suspension is 90% of the time completely blown out. These boots will be blown out, and usually the shock itself is dead as well, but looks like they've had that replaced not too long ago. Brakes are about 70% remaining. It look good, nothing loose. Nice shock strut over here. Brakes are 60 to 70% on the back, nothing loose. Sway bar links are good, and these control arm bushings are good in the back. Let's check those date codes on the tires. 45th week of 2022, so they're only a few years old and they've got some good tread on them, so tires are not an issue. Let's get this thing back on the ground. So we figured out the loose steering, and it was the lower control arms, the bushings are shot. So we know what's going to solve that. As far as the brakes, when it came in, the brakes would almost go to the floor. It would stop, but almost wouldn't. We checked all the hoses and lines and master cylinder. We checked for leaks behind the master cylinder, all kinds of different things. We found nothing. And I checked Identifix, and also it kind of corroborates with some experience I have on these, is that as, again, we're getting age on these cars, things are starting to fail that weren't failing 5 and 10 years ago, like the ABS control unit. Let's take a look where that's at. We can see down there by the front driver's side, by the transmission, there's our ABS electro-hydraulic unit. It's one combined unit that does your anti-lock brakes. That's right, the hydraulic portion of that has failed, so whenever you hit the brakes, the pressure that should be going out to the wheels gets lost inside of that unit and just wasted on the springs and solenoids or whatever is in there, and you lose braking pressure. It's becoming a common fault on these older General Motors vehicles, and guess what? There's no new ones. You go to the dealer and say, I need an ABS control unit for a 2002 Buick, they'll probably laugh at you. They haven't made those in years. So, just like at a shop I worked at before, we always just got a good used unit. And no, there's no programming. I'll show you how we bypass the programming on the old unit. The one you just saw in there is actually the good used unit. The problem has actually already been solved with the brakes. They got good strong brakes now. Let's take a look at that old one. So this is the unit that came off of it. It looks just like the one that was in there. You have all the brake lines coming out of it and whatnot. So you have an electric motor, the hydraulic block, and this is the electronic portion of it. We've got the bolts removed, and I'll split it in half and show you what I mean. Look at that, guys. This is the hydraulic unit. This is the electronic unit. The processors, the capacitors, the circuit board, all that electrical magic happens inside of here. There's the connector. That's what this little guy does. This one is where the brake fluid goes into. This is where actually mechanical actions and things are happening inside of here. This is what failed. Not this. The electrical part is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes on most vehicles, when you replace an ABS unit or a body control module or an ECM or something, it has to be programmed to the vehicle. And these would likely have to be programmed as well, because if you just swap another one and plug it in, it may not be happy. The way we got around that for many years, and it still works today, is you keep your old electronic unit. You unbolt it, put the good used hydraulic unit and bolt it on in place. The computer doesn't even know the difference. As far as it's concerned, it never even knew that you worked on it. So you take the old hydraulic unit away and yeet it in the trash. You get a good used one that's good and put it on. You can get good used ones anywhere from $150, a couple $100, and I usually get them from a place that I trust. It's actually on eBay. I've been ordering stuff from them for a long time, and I really have never had a bad one, so I trust them. We got the good hydraulic unit installed, bled all the air out of it, put the old electronic unit, bolted it in, started up, did a small road test out in the parking lot, not on the road yet, just to make sure it's happy, and everything was happy. It had good strong brakes, no brake lights, no warning lights. It was completely happy after that. So the brake issue is solved on this vehicle with a good used hydraulic ABS unit. And again, it's becoming a common issue with older GM models. There's, like I mentioned, age is catching up to these cars. So that's what I want to talk about with you guys now on these LeSabres. So there's nothing majorly wrong with this vehicle, and you're like, well, why are you trying to kick these to the curb? I'm not kicking them to the curb. I've changed my stance, and especially you guys that live in the Rust Belt up in the Northeast. Most of these are not even on the road anymore. They're so rusted out. Like I mentioned, this is a high school kid's car. And if you're using it for that, or a college kid's car, or just to tootle around town, there's still something that I would push really strongly. They're fairly reliable. And if there's a breakdown, you're not 700 miles from home. It can be fixed. It's not going to be super expensive. But now that we're getting to these vehicles to be over 20 years old, we're getting close to 25 years old on these vehicles, we can't stop time. Time is taking its toll on ABS modules, water pumps, ECMs. Everything on the car is finally getting old. So I can no longer recommend the Buick LeSabres with the 3800 as a family hauler that's your tried, true, dedicated, reliable cruiser for family road trips, for going to visit somebody for a funeral across the country or a wedding or whatever. Do not take one of these. They're old. It's very likely something's going to fail, just like this ABS module. So it's going to leave you on the side of the road. You don't want that to happen when you're 1,700 miles away from home. But they're still reliable and usable if you stay in town, like a high school car, something like that. Very safe, very reliable. But as we're moving forward in time, what can you now drive that has 3800? Unfortunately, in 2008, they stopped making the 3800. There are no more after that. Luckily, you can still get a Buick LeSabre in 2008. It's basically an upscale modern version of a LeSabre, kind of similar, and it has 3.8 or the 3800 engine in it. I've seen a few of those in the shop. Those are starting to get a little old as well. So being 2008, it's less than 20 years old. There's still some time left in those vehicles. But the LeSabres, the Park Avenues, things of that nature, they're officially been dropped down in my eyes as no longer a road cruising vehicle for long distances. I can't recommend them that for anymore. So the question would be, what about the new cars, Car Wizard? What's out there that's going to be reliable like a 3800? So far, I'm not seeing anything that's presenting itself as being bulletproof like the 3800. There's a lot of newer vehicles out there today, regardless of the brand, that the engines are having high failure rates, are having all kinds of major failures. Time is going to have to tell longer than a year or two, more like 10 years, 15 years to prove, okay, out of all these new cars, here's the ones that was reliable. It's yet to be determined, but I don't have high hopes for 2025, 26 cars, 24s. I've actually gotten questions, emails and stuff for people. I'm looking at this 24, 25 cars are going to be reliable. Again, I have friends that work at multiple dealerships across the country, and they're all saying, and this is multiple brands, they're seeing failures left and right. Transmission completely shelling out. Engines shelling out. I don't know what we're going to do, guys. Time is going to have to tell. And secondly, on the questions of what's a good 2024, 25 reliable car, I don't know. The reason why I don't know is because they're still under factory warranty. No one's going to bring their 2025 car for repairs here because it's under warranty. They can get it fixed for free at the dealership. So if they're not coming here, that means one thing. I'm not seeing them. I don't know. It's going to be a few years down the road before I can tell you what 2025 cars are good or not. They're too new. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to finish up this LeSabre and get it back on the road, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are very, very good tools. We use them every day. And they're listed for sale in that link in the description below. If you purchase anything, we get a small cut. We really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have a full schedule, which means tons of videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.